so excited to announce that I have opened up my second channel, and this is the first series that I'll be doing, but I'll just be putting this up on my main channel to let you guys know. So on my second channel, I'll be talking about mysteries, controversies, scandals, just everything that you guys wanted me to talk about. I'm so excited, and new content's to be coming up, so go and subscribe. So this is my first series to what happened. So today I'll be talking about the Sewol ferry disaster. I'm sure you guys have at least heard about this case, or you guys have seen that yellow ribbon. Sewol happened back in April 16, 2014. So actually this year, this month, April, marks the 5th year anniversary. So Sewol was a ferry that was carrying 476 people, and most of these students were actually high school students from Tanwon High School in Ansan City. So this was supposed to be like a fun field trip for the students. Not only students, but there were adults and young kids that were on this ship around 9 a.m. That is when the first distress of the ship has happened. Now, one of the crew members that was in charge of steering at the time, which in fact it turned out to be a 26-year-old inexperienced crew member that was steering the ship. Now, this person apparently made an accidental steering error, basically made the ship turn so sharp that made everyone fling to the walls. The ship sank within a total hour of 2 hours, and 304 people were trapped inside. 170 people ended up surviving. Now, this is Captain Lee Jun-suk. He was 69 years old at the time. He has about 40 years of experience at the sea. Apparently, there was an original captain that was actually in charge of Sewol, the ship, and this captain was the sub for this particular day. Now I'm gonna dive into the whole controversies and the outrage. Now, the first biggest outrage, when the ship was sinking, the captain had made an announcement to everyone in the ship to not move. Now, people who were stuck in the lower decks were ordered to not move. So most of them, you guys know, are high school students. So they were obeying the captain and the crew members. Now, there's this whole, controversy again with, should these students have obeyed the captains, or should you just not obey and just do whatever your guts are telling you? And that's a very tricky question, because even thinking about me, if I was in a ship like that and the captain that you trust, that are supposed to be the professionals, order you to specifically do something, it is a given that I would even listen to the captain, because I want to survive. I'm supposed to listen to the professionals, and that is what all of these students and most of the adults did. Now, the biggest outrage was when they found out that the captain and the crew members were one of the first people to be rescued. Before he has escaped, he has never made an announcement for everyone to save themselves. So basically, everyone was left in the boat thinking that everything was fine, that they need to stay where they are because it's dangerous. The second biggest outrage was the rescue. Now, apparently the Coast Guards did not do a good job rescuing people. So the Coast Guards ended up just basically helping out the people who were on the outside, like on the ocean or on the upper decks, and no one went inside the ship to help anyone or crack the windows or try to open the doors and try to rescue at least one person. And the Coast Guard has made an interview announcing that because of the bad weather and because the ship was already to its side, it was very tricky to even try to attempt to go inside the ship. A lot of people believe that there were air pockets. If you guys don't know air pockets, here's a definition. So a lot of people think people have survived a couple hours even after the ship sank, and that they were waiting for rescue in these air pockets. The third outrage was, this is super weird, but when the first media and the news came out that the ship was sinking, the media reported that everyone was rescued, that all students from this high school were rescued and everything was going to be fine, when in fact it was a total opposite. Someone from the higher authorities have made this false announcement. We don't know why this happened. Now, the biggest outrage is to the government. Now, this happened during the Park Geun-hye era. Now, Park Geun-hye was the former president of Korea. She actually been impeached, and she has this infamous whole case behind her impeachment. Apparently, during this time, the president was missing for 7 hours. There's whole theory behind what she was doing for 7 hours, because nobody was able to get in contact with her during this disastrous time. There's a big significance to the 7 golden hour, because this is the time when you actually could potentially save someone. And there's actually this whole theory that maybe she was getting plastic surgery, that she was just having a vacation, she wasn't taking any calls. So there's actually a footage of US Coast Guards trying to help the rescue mission, but the Korean side and the American side were like feuding on what to do, and they never came into an agreement, and the US Coast Guards ended up leaving. Now, going into theories about why the ship really sank. The first one is the steering error by the inexperienced 26-year-old and the whole captain and the crew just not taking responsibility and just being oblivious to the situation. Now, because the ship was turning such a hard velocity, basically the whole cargo and everything that was packed into the ship has flung to one side, which made the ship imbalance with the weight. The cargo exceeded 3 times the amount of maximum weight. The ship was carrying 2,142 tons of cargo when the max allowance was 987 tons. Now, because none of the cargoes were secure, this had a major impact on why the ship sank. Now, apparently the original captain made some complaints that the ship lacked safety and that there needed some repairs, but none of these repairs or safety requirements were ever taken into consideration. So now there's a second theory, and this theory actually comes from private investigators, and there's a documentary called 그날 바다. They believe that the information provided by the government of why the ship sank makes no sense. If you want to check out the details of the investigation, I'll leave a link down below so you guys could check it out. So basically, the second theory suggests that someone or something or somehow one of the anchors of the ship was released, and actually the ship was near an island, so the surface was actually very low, so the left anchor clinging onto the surface, which is the reason why there was such a sharp turn in the ship, made everyone fling and all the cargoes fling at the same time. So if this theory turns out to be true, we don't know how this anchor got released. Why? Was someone planning to do this? Was this just a man-made accident? Now the aftermath. So 304 people ended up losing their lives. Phones and people's belongings were actually found in the wreckage. So when they recovered the phones, they found a lot of footages where the students took videos of what was going on inside the ship. Some people were even texting their parents a goodbye. I mean, if you see the videos, it is so sad. So it took over 3 months to rescue about over 290 bodies, and still today there's about 5 bodies that are missing. I mean, people are still outraged that they could not find the remaining 5 bodies. A lot of the parents believe that their children were alive for hours even after the ship sank due to these air pockets. After your body has been passed and you're inside the water, your body is supposed to kind of like bloat. So when the parents found their children, the children's body were not bloated. Their hands and everything looked like they just passed. So the last search attempt was finalized on November 10th, 2014, just a couple months after the accident, because they just simply could not find anyone else. So months and months, I mean years went by, and finally March of 2017, 3 years after this accident, that is when the ship was finally lifted from its resting place. The captain and 14 crew members were charged with homicide and negligence. Now, most of the crew members were only sentenced 5 to about less than 30 years, and the captain was sentenced to life in prison. Now, you think the story was crazy? The story gets even crazier. So there's a man named Yu. Yu is believed to be a cult leader. He also has an infamous past, and he is known to be the leader of a company called Changhejin, which is a company that owns Sewol. So at one point, he was one of the Korea's most wanted men because people wanted answers and investigate basically. And after the Sewol ferry happened, he went into hiding. The crazy thing is, this guy was found months after, apparently from a suicide or a mysterious murder, and no one knows why he killed himself. No one knows if the body that they found is actually real and his. I mean, this is like a whole mystery in itself. One of the evidence that was also found by the private investigators is that the AIS provided by the government. AIS is an automatic identification system that kind of shows you where the ship are at a specific point. They actually provided false AIS information to the public. In the documentary 그날 바다, it shows private investigators finding the real AIS points, which left the question, why did the government or some authority provide the wrong or false information? Is someone trying to hide something? Is there something more to the story? So the most recent news about terror comes, as it was actually in the news a couple days ago that the Navy and Coast Guards are suspected of tampering the disaster footage. And why would you be tampering with things if you are honest and truthful? There's definitely someone hiding something. So questions still remain. Why did the rescue mission go so wrong? Number 2, why was false information given to the public, such as the AIS, which is very important? Do you think potentially people could have been saved? There's just so much controversy around this case. Even till this day, people still have not been provided with the truth. So that leaves with the famous quote, "The ship can sink, but the truth cannot sink." My heart just goes out to the victims and their families. Comment down below what you have thought about this video and this topic. I just want to hear your opinions and what you guys think about it. Again, go and subscribe to my second channel. I'll be diving more into these mysteries and controversies. See you guys next time.